Well, hello everyone, it's me, Chill Dude. I have decided to share my ideas publicly on that platform. And how it all started, it was back in 2020. I had lots of ideas in my mind, as always, and I looked for ways to pull them out of my mind somehow, and I started journaling. After journaling for several years, I have seen that it had some impacts on the way I think. And definitely, I had many things written in my journal, but some of them have transformed the way I have looked at my ideas. And as I was journaling things, I have noticed that there are some patterns, and after a while, I realized that I have started to repeat myself. The issue is, it's that I have been talking with myself in that journal for a too long time. So my ideas needed to go to the minds of others. And that is an opportunity for me to do that. And the reason I speak English is for the highest probability of meeting with like-minded people. And yes, and there are lots of things going on in the world right now, so I would like to talk about them first. But before talking about these things, I want to point out that this will also be an experimental video, which I right now I record just to start recording videos of myself talking in front of camera because it's not something I'm used to doing. But I'll use this video to show how to create subtitles using local AI models like LLMs and voice models. But that's another video's topic. And going on with it, I would like to talk about the inflation of labor. That's a very um, sudden change of topic, but yes, again. Um, the inflation of labor. What I mean by that? In a system in the world we live in, we're constantly figuring out the ways of solving problems, and we're figuring out ways of doing things faster, like artificial intelligence and software engineering, and as someone who implements code algorithm on a daily basis, I have seen that the modern innovations, the modern findings, science are actually helping me to do what I am doing faster. And the thing is, some application that used to take 2 days to write is now taking only 20 minutes to write. And that is good. I could do things quickly. But on the other hand, as a society, when we look at it, we are getting more by means of technology, but we are not getting more for ourselves. And that's concerning when we think about the system. In a way, that's like people are achieving more. They're basically doing more by means of technology, and they're getting less every single day. Now, this is concerning in a sense that I have to decide, just like any other person, a, a direction for the future. And 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 the pattern I see with the society in that sense is that we have become too abstracted away from reality. Now, just let's just get real. We're primates. We need some, we need the things that the all the animals need, like some food and some, place to live, etc., etc. So we're getting away from this. We're primates and we're obsessed with artificial intelligence. We're obsessed with the robotics and by nanotechnologies and stuff like that. But they are just the extras when we put it in a way. It's like in the perspective of survivorship in the nature. So as the time goes on, we are neglecting the most fundamental needs of ours, and that will definitely create a big need, the big hole of the workforce, the labor. Now we see there's like lots of labor force in the software engineering field. Everyone is writing code these days, and it's definitely a good thing because we're, well, improving the society. We could automate more. We're doing things that will make sure that we will never do the same things over and over and again. Interesting sense, but yeah, it's like automating stuff, and automation is supposed to make our lives easier, but right now we see it gets harder to survive because there's like lots of automation. There's no need for me in the society. That's an interesting subject, but that's not what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk about is, well, what could we do for the future? What's going to go happen in the future years? And these are my personal opinions, of course, but the pattern, as I just stated before, we see here is that we are getting away from our primality. We are getting away from our needs. We act like we don't need food to survive. We act like we don't need a house to survive. We don't act like we need a society, a community, a tribe to belong to, and and that will definitely have consequences on our society. And that is why I think for the future, if we just, I myself have to focus on more on these subjects as well, the needs of the fundamental needs of society, and I urge the others too. Like if you're interested in making a better, even better AI, well, that's not fun. That's not fun. What I mean by that is it's just the hype, and making an AI, even better AI, is not our society is needing right now. If we are, if we want to be a problem-oriented engineers, problem solvers, there are bigger problems like climate change, which is gonna be the problem. Well, I don't know how long, but it definitely will affect the way we think about food. It will definitely affect the way we think about water. We neglect the waste of water these days, but think of it as a future investment. It's like the stock market. You know, when you're shorting some stocks, you know it's gonna fall down, but you shorten it anyway. So think of it that way. You know that there will be a food crisis. You know that there will be a water supply crisis. There will be a crisis related to houses. There is already, but still it will be even more because we need a place to stay, and everyone is staying in the rent these days. It's everyone's dependent on their jobs to stay in a place, and jobs are actively trying to eliminate people and by means of AI and blah 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 blah. And we don't think of society as a system and as a part of nature. Humans are a system, and we are a part of system. We cannot get away from this. So when we are designing for ourselves as a society, we have to think of things as a formula. The more automation goes on, it means less labor for now we need. And the people right now are not all of them are actually a good fit for the era of AI. And I don't mean that we should stop looking for AI or stop working on it. I really do support and love the way we progress in terms of science as a humanity, as a society as well. But The problem is that we have to be more considerate about the society as a system. It's not just people using AI. It's people using AI and something happening as a result of that. As for example, students relying overly on ChatGPT to write their homeworks. So if you have that reliability, if you have that, you know, fun. It's very freeing feeling of being able to make a robot do your homework, but it has real consequences. We don't think about it. The solution is not to ban GPT. The solution is not to prohibit or stop it. We have to think about it. We should not avoid it. And and the problem is that we're avoiding to think about it, and that is problematic. When people start using GPT, how will they behave? This should be studied more, I guess, because well, if it's a very influential work, what will the influences be? And again, I don't mean the regulation, but just innovation, investment. We have to innovate the way AI is affecting our society more than the AI itself, because it's already getting innovated at a very high speed. Well, yeah, that's why we should choose agriculture, and that's how I end my conversation. And there are some other topics as well. Another thing that came to my mind today is that when we think of some person in our minds as an evil entity, or like villainizing it, like creating an enemy in your mind. If you think that you're actively ignoring a feeling of someone, or thinking that someone is feeling rather negative in rather senseless manners for any reason. If you call someone a bad person, you have to think twice about it. Because calling someone bad is easy, but there's nothing in the society, nothing in the world that happens without a reason. There is reason for everything. There is a cause of everything. I shouldn't say that the reason is reasonable. It's not necessary that it's reasonable, but there's a cause for this. It's like some people like with schizophrenia, they might do something that might be offensive to the people, but it's not a reasonable thing, but it has a cause. That's the type of approach I like to put. It's not specifically about mental illnesses, it's just a general thing. The way the society works. If someone is grieving, if someone is bitter, if someone is happy, or if someone is very sad, usually the extremities, if someone is very, very extreme about any particular thing, we should not think about them in a good or bad way, but we should think about them in a rational way and look for causes. Like, what caused this guy to be like this? Or what caused this guy to say these things? And of course, there's an answer. And well, if it affects your life in an interesting way, um, you can actually dive into this question. And talking with GPT, I'll actually ruined my vocabulary as well. I started to use the word dive into something. It's an effective GPT. I'm telling you that. The sociologists should research that as well. Like the the words that were previously used less and now used more. But it has always been happen. Like it has always been like that. See, there's like some words in English, can't pinpoint it right now, but you could see it in a Google. Is the amount of times this word is used historically, and Shakespeare drops a word like book called Hamlet, and it just coins a new word, and I would call it Shakespearean, for example. It's like 1918. I'm totally just randomly guessing numbers. Some article just said that word like Shakespearean, and it has a spike there. And it has always been like that. Somewhere it starts, but the GPT kind of catalyzed this process. The dive into is one of these words that has not been popular and even considered advanced, but now it's becoming A2 level word because of GPT. Yeah, yeah. I actually enjoyed this session, and the session of sharing the tornado of ideas, and I have successfully finished recording my first video. Thank you for watching. And the second video, and a future video, and the next video, I don't know, the next videos, I will try to show you how I actually made a subtitle for this video. And another thing is the camera. For camera, I use the Linux configuration, I guess. It's not configuration. It's just an application called Droid Cam, I guess. I paid for it. Now it works. And yeah, thank you for listening. If you have any ideas, opinions about my thoughts, we might connect. We might think together about these things, and maybe your opinion might affect my opinions in some intriguing way. I might be delighted. So, thank you for watching. Have a great time.